Hi, Sunday school friends. It's Mrs. Russo and Greta. We are going to start making communion bread. So we have our recipe that Mother Cameron gave to us in our packet. And we have all of our things out. Let me show you. I'm going to turn you around.
It's a little bit full on the counter.
It's very full on the counter. So we got out our board and our rolling pin and our mixing bowl and mixing stirrer. What's that called? Wooden spoon. We've got some of our tools out for measuring. These are measuring cups and measuring spoons. This is for dry ingredients. And then you need these kind of measuring cups for wet ingredients. You need these kind. Okay? And then up here we've got our ingredients. We've got our flour and sugar, the salt and the baking soda, the honey, the olive oil, and I've got my water already in my...
And the knife to make the cross.
That's true. We also got out... Can you show your circle?
The cutter.
The circle cookie cutter and a knife to make a cross on it. Okay? We have both washed our hands. We have our aprons on, and we preheated our oven to 350 degrees. Okay, we're ready to cook. I'm going to cut my head off with my camera here so you can see what's happening down here. But thankfully, you can still see Greta's. Rest assured, I still have a head. All right, we are going to start with the flour. Now, I don't have whole wheat flour at my house, so it's not going to turn exactly the same color as the communion bread you're used to seeing at church. This is usually what they have at the 5:30 service. It comes in a loaf about this big, about the size of a coffee can, and they break it off piece by piece in order to give a little bite to each person. Now, when you're measuring flour, you want to get it all the way to the top, and then you can use your finger or you can use your knife to scrape it back down. Now, this is a small thing of flour, but if it's okay if it gets on our board because we're gonna need with a K our dough anyhow, so it can get on our cutting board because we're gonna need it on there. Okay, let's do it again. You never want to pack down flour.
And all of it is going inside the bowl.
Push it off. Make it flat. There's number 2. And we need 3. Never smush down flour. We'll smush down our brown sugar, though. That's pretty fun. You want to shake it down and scrape it off. Scrape. And in you go. 1, 2, 3. Put that aside.
I'm trying to scrape the flour off of the wall.
Okay. Now we need a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Now, brown sugar's got molasses in it, so it's got a different taste. So we're going to do a 1/4 cup. And this kind you scoop down in like this, and then you gently smush it down on the side like that. It doesn't say hard-packed brown sugar in our recipe, but when you do brown sugar, because it's so sticky with that molasses, you want to get all the air out. 1/4 cup. Incidentally, the 1/4 here means that this is 1 part out of 4 equal parts. So if I were to do 4 of these, it would equal 1 big cup. This is 1 part of 4 equal parts. There you go, fractions. All right, we're going to do next is a 1/2 teaspoon. Now remember, half is actually 1 part of 2 equal parts. When put together, we'll make a full teaspoon. Ha ha ha. 1/2 teaspoon salt. Greta, can you hold this level on the edge of the bowl for me, please, my darling? Now, it's a little bit too close to the edge. Can you scoot it toward the center so if, in case I get any out, it won't spill all over the place? There we go. 1/2 teaspoon of salt.
Now I'm just going to scrape it in.
Sure you can. And a full teaspoon of baking soda. Now, if you have a box Your box will have a little scraper on it, which is so cool to use. But we go through a ton of baking soda at our house, so we don't have a box. So I'm just going to scrape it off on the edge. You see how I'm doing that? If you have a box, though, it'll be a lot more fun. Okay, 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 2 tablespoons. Let me show you a difference of a tablespoon and a teaspoon. Now, when recipes, oh, there's a half teaspoon, yeah. When recipes write teaspoon, it's with a, thank you, it's with a lowercase t. And when they write tablespoon, it's with an uppercase T. See that? So tricky. We're going to do 2 tablespoons of honey. Now, here's the thing about honey. It's very sticky. So I'm going to skip ahead real quick to show you a trick. There's a 1/4 cup of olive oil. I've got my liquid measure and I've got my olive oil here. Okay, watch this. Now, with liquids, you put it down flat. Greta, can I scooch this bowl for just a second so we can show exactly what we're doing? Put this down flat, and we find the 1/4 mark, 1 part of 4 equal parts. And that we're going to put down facing us. And we're going to go down this way, and as we pour, we're going to look and make sure it goes just to that 1/4 mark. Because the way light works, it bends through glass a little bit, and it bends through liquid a little bit, and we don't want a kind of a 1/4. We want exactly a 1/4. Same reason why we're not going to try to measure it when it's up here, because it might tip and tip. Okay, now here's the trick. For the sticky honey, sorry, I'm putting my my oil away because I don't like to have a big mess.
Over here.
Okay, now watch this. Oil makes the honey not stick. So we're going to take our tablespoon and just get a coat of the oil. We're already going to use the oil. So if you don't have oil in your recipe, you can't do this, or else you'll introduce oil when you're not supposed to. 2 tablespoons of honey then will not stick in the bottom of your tablespoon. 1. Look at that. Slide. How satisfying is that? Oh.
It's really satisfying.
Yeah. Let's dip it in the oil again. We don't want to measure oil out yet, so we're going to take out as much oil as we can because we want the entire tablespoon to be honey. And 2.
Done.
Oh, I just heard the beep of our stove. It is preheated. That means it has come up to 350 degrees. Look at that! And there's no honey in our tablespoon.
I'm just going to cover it.
Okay, and here's our oil. That's next, our 1/4 cup of oil. 1 part of 4 equal parts. And our 1 cup of water, I already pre-measured it. 1 cup. Find the 1 cup first before you start putting your liquid in there. All right, lady. Start mixing. Keep cleaning. We don't want to make a mess. Now, while Greta's mixing, I'm going to show you over here. We've got our board and we've got our pin. And some of our flour spilled when we were scraping off the top of the cup measure, and that's okay, because we need it anyways. We need it anyways on the board and on the pin. We don't want our dough to stick on here, so you have to use something so it doesn't stick. Some recipes call for different kinds of flour, so you would use those different kinds to make them not stick. How's it coming? Can I help with this a little bit? Yeah.
It's a little hard because there's so much dry and not that much wet.
Yeah. Well,
and every time I think I got the dry wet, it looks like it's not wet even though it is.
That's true, because you find a little pocket of dry. Now, the reason we want to have it this consistency is we want it to be a dough and not a batter. If we put more fluid in there, more liquid, it would be a batter, and we would have to pour it out like pancakes. But that will not make a loaf of bread, will it?
Nope.
Nope. No way. So we're going to make it so it's almost all combined. Now, the trick here is that we're also going to do what's called kneading. Okay, now this is not the same as kneading something like you need to go potty or you need to take a shower. This is kneading.
Like knead.
Yes.
Like massaging bread.
Oh, it is like massaging. It's spelled with a silent K. Isn't that weird? Just like the word no. Like, I know you guys are going to have fun baking communion bread. That is also spelled with a silent K. This is craziness. Okay, now I'm going to take it out, dump it onto my board. Now, I still have a little bit in there. So I'm going to use that and knead it in. And I don't want to waste all this, too. Don't waste all that. Ooh. Okay. Get a little flour on my hands because I really don't need them to be sticky. And this is how you knead. You fold and press, then change. Fold and press. Yes. Fold. Yeah.
Fold and
Press. Fold and press. You might need to stand up there, sister.
Fold and press.
Good job.
Fold and press.
Good. And now this, you know what this is doing? Is it's getting all the fluffy stuff. Here, I'll get it closer too. It's getting all the fluffy stuff into the bread, and it's making it nice and soft. Yep, I'll get some more. We don't want too much because we don't want our bread to get stiff. So just a smidge at a bit. Smidge. And the reason it says 8 minutes is because that's what makes this dough start to rise the right way. And, oopsie. And it makes the dough just right. Fluffy and tender. And that won't happen if you don't knead it long enough. Yeah, you gotta knead it. And fold and press. I might need an anti-slip thing underneath my board. Can't release.
Fold.
And press with your palms. There you go. That's right.
Fold.
Now I wish I could say that this communion bread could be your communion bread on Sunday, and it would be just like getting the host at church. But it's not. It's not the same. It's not what they call consecrated, which means that the priest hasn't said the prayers and helped us feel in our hearts that this really is the body of Christ at the same time as it's the bread. Woo, that is a mystery. I'm fixing to ask the Lord when I get to ask him. Okay, that might not have been 8 minutes, but it's feeling very, watch what happens, Greta, watch. When I push it down, watch it spring back. Nope, watch. See how it springs back? I think we're done. Sometimes you kind of have to just feel. Okay, now we're going to roll it out. So this bread is just still going to be just plain old bread. Even though it's the right recipe, which really any recipe will work for communion bread. Yes, ma'am. But this is the one that our church is used to using. You might need to stand up and give a little bit of muscles. There you go. Okay, now see how it's springing back? That's right. That's what I was just going to say. You're going to... Here, you start doing it. I'm getting an anti-slip thing. That's driving me crazy.
Or you could just go slow.
But you need some muscles under there. You need some muscles. There you go, girlfriend. Get some muscles.
Mama, it's sticking.
That will never work. There we go.
I'm just gonna go like
smidge. Okay, here we go. Give mommy a little bit. There we go. All right, so we're going to make this down to a 1/4 inch. Once again, there's that fraction again. That means 1 equal part of 4. Greta, can you find every place on there? There's 2, 3 places where it's got the 1/4 fraction.
1 and 1.
That's a 1 cup. I want you to find the 1/4. That means 1 equal part of 4. it looks like...
Here.
Oh, there's one. Yep, it looks like this. There's
And
one.
here.
Brown sugar, water, and where else?
Here.
There's one more on there. You're going to have to look closely because it's not part of the ingredients. Where is it? It's down here. Keep looking.
Here.
Yes! That symbol is called an inch symbol. Those two little
Can I
commas. I think we're ready. And in this case, we have divided an inch into 4 equal parts. And we just need this to be the thickness of one of those equal parts. This is pretty darn close. I'm not a very good baker, friends, because I'm not a very precise baker, and you have to be very precise. So sometimes my creations don't come out quite as I expect them to. Okay, friends, now we have our, sorry Greta, I'm reaching right in front of you. We have our baking pan with our baking sheet on it. We don't need that flour. Greta, we're going to start cutting out some circles, baby cakes. And try to get them as close to the edge as you can.
Yep, that's what I was just about to do.
Yeah, because then we don't waste any dough.
Down.
Now give it a little wiggle, wiggle, jiggle, jiggle.
Wiggle, wiggle.
So you get all the way down to the board. There we go. Lift it up. Good. Try it again. It's okay. Your mom will get this. Hold on, baby. Because it might be sticky. There you go. Little circle. One. Put it on your sheet. Wiggle, wiggle, jiggle, jiggle.
Wiggle, wiggle, jiggle, jiggle.
That's 2. We'll work together.
Wiggle, wiggle, jiggle, jiggle.
3. Get it all the way down to the board.
Wiggle, jiggle, jiggle.
Push it all the way down.
Wiggle, jiggle, wiggle, wiggle, jiggle.
Okay.
Jiggle.
Good. Now we're gonna, so that our friends don't have to watch us do all of these. That might be a little boring. They want to do it themselves. We're gonna scooch this aside. Oh, we can't scooch anymore, right? I put that anti-slip stuff under there. And now we're just gonna make a cross in the top, but just, you're not cutting it all. You're gonna just score it. Remember what that means? We did that with our biscotte.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So make a little smush, like smush and smush. Other one. Oh, gravy. There we go. Crosses in the middle. Yeah. Good. Good. Now your grown-up can show you, friends, once you get all of these cut out and you have just all these little edges left, you can smush them back together and re-roll them out with your rolling pin. So don't put that in the sink yet. And do a couple more circles, right? So you can get the most out of your bread recipe. And this you can use for, what could we use this bread for since it's not really communion bread? Greta, what do you think?
I don't know. I think I would just pretend it was communion bread.
You could. You absolutely could. You could bless it and have it with soup. A nice simple soup supper. Sometimes during Lent we have simple soup suppers.
So I just kind of push it a teensy bit, like I put my fingers on the next
sure.
one.
You're kind of here. Let me show.
Teensy bit.
Yeah.
Teensy bit. Then do the next one.
So we're going to bake these guys
Teensy bit.
for 15 minutes in the oven. And then they'll be all golden brown and ready to go. Like I said, this particular recipe I used calls for whole wheat flour, so it's usually browner. And this is just regular, plain old bleached flour. And you could try other kinds of flours too. Maybe Greta and I will try gluten-free communion bread and see how that goes. But I am so thankful that you joined us today for making communion bread. And go ahead and click on all the rest of the virtual Sunday school links because we're going to be talking more about daily bread. Yeah, see you next time. Bye guys.